Interaction confirmed. The ticks are affecting the glass delivery.
Here goes. Stay safe, Jack.
Let's go back in time. Back in time.
Good luck, Jack. Delta Squad. Delta 6 requesting assistance. Is severely irradiated. Shell integrity currently below 60%. Secured shelter, wreckage of the Kronos 2. If you're receiving this transmission, please respond.
We have arrived. What is your status?
Core systems appear operational.
Good. We must keep in mind, this combat shell was not designed for biomass engagement. Any contact with the infestation will render us immediately inoperable.
Where should we begin searching?
Undetermined. I'll scan the area for identifiable landmarks.
There was a transmission from a Delta member as we arrived. Did you hear it as well?
Affirmative. They are continuing to broadcast. I'll patch them in now.
Kronos 2 wreckage. Currently assessing bio-torpedoes in the area.
I recognize this unit as Delta 6.
Interesting. It appears this Delta 6 has already located several torpedoes. Reaching their location may be our most expedient option.
They said they're located at the wreckage of the Kronos 2. How far are we?
At minimum, we are within comms range. The distance should be manageable. We should first clear ourselves of this debris, then see if the signal strengthens.
Yeah, let me out
However,
of
we
here.
should check your equipment before we go. I will do my best to keep this expedient. Let's begin with your shielding. This unit has been optimized for combat scenarios and is capable of regenerating its shield without the use of external chargers. However, a significant delay is required for the process to begin after sustaining damage. You may need to exercise patience.
Understood.
Next is your armament. This unit is equipped with an M19C repeater, designation Pulsar.
Pew, pew,
Jack,
pew.
are you comfortable wielding a firearm?
Yeah, let's go.
I'm accustomed to operating new tools. I'm certain learning to use this armament will be no different.
Very well. I shall construct a brief simulation so that you may familiarize yourself with the device. Your armament is now unlocked. Open fire on the targets. Targets eliminated.
Sweet.
Unfortunately, should we encounter ticks, it is unlikely they will be quite so docile. These targets should provide a close approximation to tick activity. As such, successfully hitting a given target may require you to aim ahead of its movement. The ionized bolts of your armament are surprisingly slow, though I suppose that is acceptable for weaponry of this century. Jack, fire continuously at this last target. Make no consideration for accuracy. Overheat detected. Notably, each firing of your weapon causes a portion of energy to be retained as excess heat. Without sufficient time to cool, this buildup will exceed maximum operating temperature, leading to an emergency venting cycle.
Yeah,
Can this be averted?
Yes, firing in controlled bursts is the most efficient way to do so. However, you may use the button on your wrist to manually vent any heat heat within the unit. But this choice should be made tactically. The weapon will remain inoperable while venting.
Understood.
Excellent. Lastly, we need to inspect your threat scanner.
It's what we'll use to scan the biomass's base genetic material, correct?
Indeed. However, until we locate a viable torpedo, we shall instead rely on its original functionality, identifying nearby hostiles. To that end, I have optimized the device's settings to our mission parameters. Once activated, it will emit a single sensor pulse, followed by a brief recharge cycle. Try doing so now. Hostile identified. A tick just beyond the bulkhead. It appears dormant for the time being.
Can it be avoided?
Given the surrounding topography, no. Though your strategy is sound, armament from this era won't be particularly effective against any form of the biomass.
Very well. I am ready to engage. Can you unlock the harness?
Done. Now that you are free, I must advise, operating your firearm will produce substantial recoil. I strongly encourage you to brace by maintaining a firm grip on nearby surfaces.
Acknowledged.
Threat neutralized. Well done, Jack. Warning. I am detecting extreme
These guys
levels
didn't
of
do great.
radiation in the surrounding area.
As 6's transmission indicated, that would also explain the call.
Indeed. Though I should also note, the ionizing radiation correlates with visual spectrum emissions. Avoiding the latter will protect you from the former.
Stay out of the light to avoid radiation. Copy that. Rebooting in a Series 10 shell bears many similarities to my original specification.
The wreckage ahead contains a shielded view pane. It should offer full protection while allowing us to identify the source of radiation.
Oh boy, look at that, Estrella.
The Estrella appears to be the source of radiation.
The main reactor. I estimate it will continue burning for several months. We should keep moving. That power cell is temporarily distracting the tick. Though, a direct hit to the cell from your pulsar would likely cause it to detonate.
This'll come in handy. Watch that.
The debris field ahead offers far less protection from radiation. Extra precaution will be needed to stay out of the light. Furthermore, I am detecting a significant biomass presence. I strongly advise frequent use of your threat scanner to plan an optimal route.
Acknowledged.
Warning to any receiving. Hostile equipment in the area designated biotorpedo. Devices will be present. Information is triggerable even by personnel. Recommend vessels maintain minimum safe distance of 100 kilometers. Personnel should evac immediately.
It would appear Delta Squad has become familiar with the operation of the torpedoes. Perhaps that is what caused their vessel to crash.
Given that they began investigating the torpedoes in close proximity, that result is highly probable.
An energy pulse from the anomaly.
Is it still stable?
I believe so, at least relatively. Nonetheless, we should remain focused on finding a torpedo if we hope to do so before the anomaly collapses. There is a faint distress signal emitting from a cavern just ahead. Its frequency is similar to Delta 6's earlier transmission. We should investigate.
I don't know how I got sucked out that way. It happened.
Distress signal located.
It's a CubeSat, one of Delta Squad's recon units.
It appears to be in need of our support. Concern for friendly fire is admirable, but without immediate engagement, the recon sat is likely to be eliminated anyway.
Delta Unit, I'm picking up your signal in proximity to Reconnaissance Satellite 3. Is that you, 13? Or was it Jack?
Jack, we have insufficient time for complications. We should keep our relation to this combat unit as simple as possible. I will conduct all communication with you privately, and I must insist we maintain the persona of Delta 13.
Very well, Apollo. Delta 6, this is Delta 13. I read you. ReconSat 3 was engaged by multiple hostiles. I moved to assist.
I see. 13. Your return is peculiar, but appreciated. It appears ReconSat 3 would not have survived its perimeter sweep without your aid. So, what is your status? Is your pod operational?
Affirmative. All systems nominal.
Except for that part where I'm totally not.
ReconSat 3 will lead the way. Destination, Kronos 2 Bridge. I will require your assistance in assessing the bio-torpedoes.
Acknowledged. We are en route. 13 out.
Well done, Jack. Your replication of tactical speech was convincing.
My experiences with Liv have taught me many things. It would appear that improvisation is one of the most useful.
Agreed. Shields are 95%.
ReconSat 3, I can see your signal light from here. Proceed with caution. There are hostiles. Interference from the anomaly. Delta 13, status. Are you experiencing malfunctions again?
Negative. No malfunctions detected.
Acknowledged. Proceed with caution. There are hostiles in the area.
Understood.
Threat resolved.
A Series 10 Echo unit shell from Delta Squad.
ReconSat 3 is detecting a nearby threat. Advise clearing the area before you proceed. Additional threats detected. I recommend enacting the sweep and clear protocol.
All clear. We should keep moving.
It appears you have arrived here intact. Well done.
We need to locate the torpedoes as soon as possible.
Thank you, Delta 6. We should continue our mission immediately.
Agreed. Primary objective: threat assessment of the hostile devices. Secondary objective: establish a warning beacon for passing vessels.
You are unable to reboot, correct? Perhaps I should take the primary objective.
Agreed. A further encounter with the bio-torpedoes would likely result in operational failure on my part. However, I can still provide some assistance. By leveraging the Kronos 2 systems, I have already performed a sensor sweep. In doing so, I have identified a large number of active torpedoes in a nearby clearing. The results are available here on the holotube, if you wish to review them.
Can you push the objective to my ARM computer?
Affirmative. I've also included the clearing's coordinates as the associated location marker, should you need it.
Acknowledged.
You may proceed through here to reach the clearing. I will begin efforts toward our secondary objective shortly. Report back here once you have completed your assignment.
Copy
Okay.
that.
Interference from the Astraeus radiation will continue beyond the arrival of the Ithaca. It is unlikely Delta 6's secondary objective will be accomplished.
We are fortunate to have their assistance, though. Locating torpedoes has saved us considerable time.
Agreed. The alignment of our objectives is fortunate indeed.
Apollo, if Delta Squad was not able to safely perform their assessment, how will we collect our data on the base genetic material?
Unlike the rest of Delta Squad, you have my assistance.
That one's dead.
I will bring the entirety of my electronic countermeasure suite to bear against the torpedoes. I am certain I will be able to disable their proximity detonators.
Fair enough. I suppose an advanced tactical AI is quite capable of tipping the scales.
Indeed. To that end, I shall now reconfigure your threat scanner for inspecting the torpedo incubators. Stand by. Reconfiguration complete. Your threat scanner should now be able to generate a detailed mapping of the biomass's base genetic material, though the range of the instrument has been somewhat diminished.
I suppose that's a trade-off we'll have to accept.
Indeed. The anomaly is becoming more active. We need to hurry. Dr. Harlan and the captain may be close to having expended the fuel cell.
Apollo, I've located a torpedo. Is this close enough to scan?
Unfortunately, no. We need to reach the forward end of the torpedo, where the base genetic material is housed.
You're certain that we're masked from the detection? Scanning. Apollo, status.
Unfortunately, the torpedo's shielding is denser than anticipated. For a successful scan, it appears we'll need to expose the base genetic material. I believe that by interfacing with the torpedo, I should be able to reveal the incubator at the forward end.
Do you need me to do anything?
Possibly. I cannot be certain until I have actually accessed the torpedo's systems. I advise maintaining full tactical readiness.
Understood.
I will begin once you designate the incubator for scanning.
Incubator located.
Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
Interfacing now. This is more complex than I had.
Apollo?
The torpedo's defense protocols have activated. It has locked the incubator and is attempting to power its main drive. It's beginning launch procedures. I will stall for as long as possible. I'm opening access hatches on the front end. The manual overrides within them should trigger a maintenance mode.
Override activated.
Perfect. Take care of the one on the opposite side as well.
Second override activated.
Well done, though the launch procedure is still online. Perhaps we can overheat the main drive. Enabling maintenance mode gave us access to the torpedo's cooling cells. Remove them. The cells are locked behind a protective housing. Lower it.
Cells removed.
Perfect. You will need to remove the second array on the opposite side as well.
Additional cells removed.
The drive is beginning to overheat, but the launch sequence is still active. Jack, the launch procedure is nearing completion. Jack, it's launching. Get clear of the torpedo. Fortunately, I believe there are additional torpedoes in the vicinity. What we learned here will make us more prepared for a second attempt.
Apollo, is it possible Delta 6 could sufficiently power the beacon to warn Ithaca?
Unlikely. All evidence from both the present and future indicates they will not. I see no reason to dissuade them, though. We should focus on our mission.
Agreed. Incubator reached.
Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
I'm in. My countermeasures are holding, but you'll need to trigger the maintenance mode immediately. The manual overrides should be exposed at the forward end.
One down. Maintenance mode activated.
Indeed. The cooling cells are now exposed. Remove them to trigger an overheat.
Cells clear.
The overheat process has initiated. The drive housing is open. Destroy the main drive.
Main drive destroyed.
Launch sequence averted. That finally did it. I am able to unlock the incubator now. And we should do so quickly. It appears we may not have much time.
Incubator exposed.
Excellent. We should begin the scan immediately. Scanning.
Apollo,
Imprinting now. It should not be much longer. Just a moment longer.
Apollo,
Data secured. Well done, Jack.
Why do I get the feeling this is the
I suppose
moment
now we
that
should simply wait for the
Apollo
anomaly's collapse.
somehow
I believe
managed
so,
to
yes.
create the
It
biomass?
does appear to be
Like-
fairly unstable at this point. I estimate no more than a few minutes remain.
He is kind of a ding-dong.
Very well.
Perhaps there is a way we could signal the Doctor and Captain Rose that we are ready to return.
Were that viable, I would have expected them, or you, to have already suggested a means for doing so.
Certainly. However, I was attempting to prompt one of your creative solutions.
I see. The anomaly is going to close any moment now.
Preparing for return displacement. Jump imminent. Jack, are you here as well?
Surprisingly, yes.
Surprising indeed. Our plan was developed under the requirement that the anomaly's collapse would return us to 2537. Had this outcome appeared likely, I would have developed a contingency.
Do we have an alternative means of returning?
Given the limited resources available to us here, no, not that I am aware of.
So,
Now that the anomaly has subsided, I have run an additional test of the beacon. Radiological interference is still too significant. Nonetheless, the beacon is prepared to transmit continuously once the radiation subsides. As such, I am now shifting my priority back to the primary objective. What is the status of your assessment?
Assessment complete.
Well done. Unfortunately, our lack of extended range communication leaves us unable to deliver your work to Titan Command. Therefore, we must enact the message in a bottle protocol. Report back to me in the activation bay so that we may discuss the details.
Jack, assisting Delta 6 may be our best solution at this point. Both of Delta Squad's objectives are still viable, though unlikely. The radiation may subside in time for the beacon to warn the Ithaca.
And if it doesn't?
Then we follow protocol.
The message in a bottle protocol?
Yes, it is a standardized Atlas procedure. In short, Delta 6 intends to store our assessment in a secure device until it can be recovered.
That information would disrupt the events of this timeline.
That is the intention, to prepare humanity to defeat the biomass sooner.
But then what happens to Liv?
We have no way of knowing. Our own limited experiences are the only concrete information we have regarding time travel. Simply put, there are too many confounding factors to even make an assessment.
I see.
It is, however, possible that once events here stabilize, we will be able to obtain help in returning to the future. Therefore, I advise we wait until the Ithaca or other Atlas personnel arrive. We can then reevaluate.
Very well, then we wait. I will inform Delta.
13. I did not receive a response. Do you copy?
Copy, Delta 6. I'm en route. Delta 6 has routed all power to the activation bay for the beacon.
You've returned. Let me know when you are ready to commence.
Let's begin.
Very well. Your new shell is right over there, awaiting your transfer.
My new shell.
Correct. Protocol dictates we should place the assessment data in the most secure storage solution available, Tier 6 or higher. That Series 11 shell should do nicely.
That should make waiting for the Ithaca far simpler.
Understood, 6. I will transfer when ready.
Acknowledged. I will attempt further optimization of the beacon in the meantime.
I'll prepare the transfer. Initiate through your ARM computer when you're ready.
Ah?
Transfer
Looking
appears
spiffy,
complete.
huh?
Please confirm, 13.
Affirmative, Delta 6. Transfer complete.
Acknowledged. You are now integrated into the activation bay's power grid, which I have connected to a mobile reactor. It should provide ample power for both you and the beacon, especially once you've engaged your hibernation protocol. I will do my best to keep you and the power supply safe.
Acknowledged. Delta 6. Will you let me know if the anomaly reappears?
Peculiar. Though prudent. Very well. Initiate hibernation when ready.
I've set the
Okay.
protocol for timed disengagement so that we may awaken for the Ithaca's approximate arrival.
Excellent. It is unlikely anyone else will arrive in the meantime.
Indeed. Ready when you are, Jack.
Good luck, Delta 13.
We all saw Terminator. I feel like or Terminator 2 rather. I feel like I am the leftover little brain chip and arm that creates the Cyberdyne Industries. Like this is I'm the message in the bottle. I contain the information for the biomass and the copy of Apollo's, like, Apollo's imprinted in there. Oh boy.
Ithaca, automated nav transponder. Vessel entering Saturn orbit. Preparing for course correction burn. Destination, Earth. End of transmission.
Hello.
Status?
Unfortunately, it appears the radiation has not yet subsided. Unless Delta 6 managed to improve the beacon, the Ithaca will not be warned.
Delta 6, this is Delta 13. What is your status? Delta 6, status.
I'm not picking them up on sensors either. However, there is a high-gain broadcast coming through. From the Ithaca.
Thingy over there.
I'll patch it in.
This is the SCI Ithaca automated nav transponder. Correction burn initiating. 3, 2, 1.
The vessel is passing by on its way to Earth.
Then, as anticipated, the beacon has failed. Effectively, we are witnessing the origin of the biomass outbreak.
Correct. This does appear to be the
Apollo.
final moment from which the ensuing series of events could be changed.
Did you
A tipping point,
connect
if you
those
will.
dots yet, Apollo?
Still no signal from Delta 6.
I'm afraid not, no. Without their assistance, delivering our data on the base genetic material is far less tenable.
How so?
Simply put, we are back to not knowing what happens next. An Atlas team could arrive within the hour, or within a year.
Or never.
Precisely. Delta 6 would have been able to assist such a team in finding us while we're in hibernation. But without that, we must err on the side of extreme caution.
Then we should focus on returning to Lib.
Possibly. The main issue is the lifespan of that mobile reactor. At current operation, it should last roughly 50 years. If we were to minimize the beacon's output, we could last roughly 500 years. But then I doubt anyone would find us.
I agree. The odds of someone discovering us would be quite low. But what if someone knew to look? If they wouldn't give up on looking?
Captain Rhodes.
Exactly. If we hibernate until 2537...
She will search for us once we fail to return. In fact, if we altered the beacon's message to one she would uniquely recognize.
And time its broadcast to resume when she would start searching.
Then we should be easily found, with power to spare. Pausing beacon now. I'll set it to resume shortly after when we would have disappeared. Beacon set. The next time we awaken, it should be due to Captain Rhodes having received our message. Initiate hibernation when you're ready.
You got it. It's gonna be a long nap.
Earth has been quarantined. Passage to and from is prohibited until further notice.
Intercepted. Bummer.
Jack, listen.
Message to all colonies. Do not, I repeat, do not attempt passage to Earth. Any and all traveling vessels, avert course to your nearest off-world settlement. All passage to and from Earth is prohibited until further notice.
It's a distress call from Earth.
And not the only one. I'm intercepting countless transmissions from ships disobeying orders. Fleeing Earth.
The infection is spreading.
Indeed. The outbreak is already well underway. We should conserve energy, Jack.
All we can
hibernation
do, all we
when
can
you're
hope, Apollo, is that Liv finds us and they're able to generate some sort of cure now that you've traveled back in time to spread your biomass plague. None of this would have happened if you didn't come back in time, Apollo, like a ding dong.
Apollo, what is happening?
We're passing through a debris cloud. It is mostly comprised of smaller particulates of rock and ice. But sensors indicate a denser cluster on collision course.
How long before it reaches our position?
We have approximately 20 seconds before impact. However, the trajectory places the affected area outside our immediate position. We will experience some impact tremors, but this bay should provide adequate protection.
Okay. She woke me up for this.
Impact imminent. Collision event in 3, 2, 1.